Hi everybody, all two or three of you. It's story time with Loren. Last month, a good friend of mine had an extra ticket to go see Mammoth EVH, not EVH. I'm an idiot. Mammoth WVH, Wolfgang Van Halen. They were opening up for Alter Bridge, who is basically former members from the band Creed, very successful band in the late 90s, early 2000s. And there were second row seats on the right-hand side. And I was like, man, how cool would it be? I had no idea where they would be, where the seats were going to be, if it was far left or far right, but they're on the right-hand side. Like, how cool would it be if it's like right in front of Mark Tremonti? Oh my, it was right in front of Mark Tremonti. And so I went into the concert going, man, that's cool. And then I saw his rig was right in front of us whenever Wolfgang's band was done. They were great. It was really cool. And when I saw Tremonti's rig in front of me, I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to be insane. So I was about, 6 feet from the stage. On average, usually about 10 or 12 feet from Mark. Saw everything his fingers did. There's a lot going on there. I mean, the guy is amazing. So I went in with expectations of knowing I was probably going to have my mind blown by Mark, that, because he's such a magnificent, he's a virtuoso. I mean, he's amazing, just amazing. So anyway, and I was amazed. It was awesome. He was as good or better than I thought he was, and then his singing is just magnificent. Mid-afternoon coffee time, right? What really blew my mind was Myles Kennedy. I'd heard him with Slash and some Alter Bridge stuff on Spotify and stuff, and I was like, this is cool and everything. The guy is such an excellent singer. It's amazing. It's like it's effortless. He puts so much into his craft. So much tone coming out. I just hear all these different tones from his voice, and so powerful. And I mean, he's this tall, skinny, lanky guy with this huge voice, and it's almost like he's not even trying. It was amazing. And I'm just like watching him, just going, dang, that guy is really, really good. And of course, he came out, first couple songs, he had a guitar strapped on, and he's playing stuff, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know a ton about him, honestly. Kind of casual, like, oh, that's kind of cool, the songs I was hearing. And but then he played some lead, and his lead was really, really good. And I'm going, man, I think I'm a pretty good guitar player, but this guy's smoking me. I mean, they're both killing me, all right? So I was very humbled by what I saw. And so now I've got this man crush on not only Tremonti, but also Myles Kennedy. I mean, and it's really cool to be that close to the stage and seemingly make eye contact with these people. It's insane. Now, the audio isn't as good as it would have been, maybe 15, 20 rows back, because the mains are basically over our heads and blowing past us. So we get some of the stage volume and whatever side wash they might have had or wedges. They had in-ears, but I think Tremonti had wedges. He had things sitting up there, at least, so because he does that, foot up on the monitor wedge type of a thing like they did in the old days. And so he still does that, and he very well may have a monitor there and the in-ears. I saw him pop the in-ears out, at least one of them, several times during the show. and I'm just trying to figure that out. I guess I could do some research on that and hear some or read some articles where he talks about that sort of thing. But anyway, I'll have another sip of coffee. Pardon me a moment. So, oh, and I'll make sure that when the coffee's gone, I'm done talking. I won't talk like all day or anything. Well, maybe I will. Oh yeah, I'm not supposed to smile on these things. No more smiling allowed. But anyway, yeah, the volume, it's loud, but not as loud as further back in the arena. It wasn't an arena, it's more like a concert hall. Might have held, I don't know, 7,000 here in Indianapolis. And it was really cool. But the thing is, I could hear the vocals well enough, especially Kennedy. I mean, his vocals just cut through like nobody's business. It's really, really good. So yeah, now I've got this man crush on Miles Kennedy because he was too cool. And here's me being an old knucklehead. Music today isn't as good as it was when I was growing up or coming up in college or whatever. Man, their album that came out in 2004, gosh, that thing is really, really good. It was 2004. You know, I was still kind of into stuff, into listening to things. But anyway, they got a new fan after that show in me. I just love them. And I was on Spotify and listening to them and then finding new ones to heart, you know. And it kept, I was like, I want to hear more, I want to hear more, I want to hear more. And it would occasionally throw another one on, but it'll loop back to other ones that I'd already hearted. Like, that's great. I want to hear other Alter Bridge songs, you know, off of like all their albums. Good grief, how many albums they have. I mean, it's ridiculous. Anyway, I got fed up and said, forget about it, man. I'm just going to buy their first album. And so I did. And yeah, when you do that, the audio quality is a lot better than just, and I don't have a paid Spotify account. So that's part of the problem. I'm talking to the family. I know my kids want it. And my wife's been kind of about it, but it's not that expensive and we can control. You can limit the stuff that your kids listen to on there. I digress. We're not talking about Spotify and getting a family subscription or anything, are we? Come on, old man Hunt, get with the program, right? I got it. Okay. But anyway, yeah, I was standing there like this, watching them and the songs. These songs are all good. They're all really good. And I think about that first album, I'm going, there aren't skippers on it, you know. Now I listened to it from the beginning to end at the gym this morning, and hence I'm still in my gym clothes. So, hey, at least you don't have to smell me over video, right? That's a plus. And so I listened to the whole thing then, and then on my way back after hearing it, I mean, I did skip some then because it's like, these were great songs, but this is really what I'm wanting to hear next. And oddly enough, the ones that I was not skipping were the ones that weren't like the hits on the album. But I mean, it's amazing. And it's like, have I been living under a rock since 2004 and not really? Maybe I have been. Why haven't they necessarily been in front of our face? Is this a symptom of like the death of the rock god, the rock band, small g, of course, in rock bands, or something else, or maybe backlash from Creed breaking up? I don't know, but good grief. when I listen to Miles Kennedy sing, and I know this is a guitar-related channel that I talk about guitars, play guitar and that sort of thing, but I couldn't help but go, I could hear that band. It would have been so cool if they'd have done any cover of any of these bands that I'm about ready to list, because I'm sure that they could nail it and blow your mind with it. I thought, man, there's Journey, there's some Steve Perry in his voice. If you listen close, there's some Steve Perry there. And then I was like, well, wait a minute, there's Chris Cornell in his voice too. Holy crap, the first 2 songs on that album, like I'm hearing some Chris Cornell and some Soundgarden kind of esque riffing going on. And I mean, not quite exactly, but you can hear some similarities. So I was like, that's really cool. And Iron Maiden, of course, I'm an early to mid 80s Iron Maiden fan, so I'm old school Iron Maiden, because I am old man Hunt, right? I mean, for real. I mean, could you have it any other way? But Queensryche, who else was I hearing? Good grief. I mean, Miles Kennedy voice, his voice is distinctively his, but I hear all these other tones in there. I'm hearing some Chris Cornell tone, I'm hearing some Steve Perry tone, I'm hearing some Jeff Tate tone, some Bruce Dickinson tone. It's just like, I don't know. Like I said, all I'm saying is, if you like the kind of, rock guitar, heavy rock, hard rock stuff that I like, with excellent singing, you can't go wrong with both listening to Alter Bridge. I mean, I went there, honestly, to be honest, my buddies who were going to the show were really going to see Wolfgang, really, because we're big Van Halen fans. We love Van Halen. My one friend, who actually got the tickets, I mean, he's really into Van Halen. I mean, he has a red, basically like a Frankenstein stripe t-shirt, or not t-shirt, button down kind of camp shirt that has Sammy Hagar's signature on it. He's got all kinds of Van Halen memorabilia and just all about Van Halen. So really we're focused on, we're going to see Wolf's band and enjoy that. And it was really cool, and they were really good, and I was going, but Tremonti, I know he's a virtuoso, and he's different, And Wolfgang, yes, we've seen on TV where he can play like his dad, Eddie Van Halen, but his solos are distinctively his. They're not. He has his own style. He's cultivating, which is really, really great. But I thought, okay, this is gonna be pretty cool. See, Tremonti and everything, but man, they won a new fan. Right there, watching that, I was just like, dang. Some cool things that happened because it was so close. If I can remember this in the correct order. Right before their encore, when they, go off stage for about 5-10 minutes, have a coffee or whatever. Coffee, right? Yeah, in the evening. Who knows? I'm not judging. I mean, people judge me for having a coffee at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, or with dinner when we're out or something. But hey, I'm up there in the years and I could use a boost, and I enjoy a brew, right? Not the frosty brews, the hot steamy brews. Where was I? Oh yeah, before the encore, they're throwing picks around and stuff, and I think the bass player threw a pick and it hit me, and I was like, "What the world?" And another one came flying by, and I saw it go by me, and I was like, "Well, where'd it go? Did it go somewhere?" And the guy behind me goes, "It hit my hand. It's probably down there somewhere." And so I found it, picked it up, and I was like, well, the first one, let's go back to the first one. the first one, it hit me, landed on the ground. I picked it up, was like, this is cool. I pocketed it and was going, I'm going to give this to my buddy who said, hey, you got to go to this show with me. We got this extra ticket. You got to go. And I was like, I'll see what I can do. I'll talk to my wife and stuff. And he's like, and I know I'm all over the place on this, but he goes, he showed me that it was the second row and he goes, Loren, you're going. That's it. You're going. You're going. It's like, okay. You talked me into it, man. And so anyway, that hit me. I picked that one up, pocketed it, put it in the pick pocket, you know, in your jeans right there. It's where you put your picks. If you didn't know, you probably already knew, but that's where you put your picks. Anyway, had that there. Another one comes flying through, and the guy behind me is like, yeah, it hit my hand, and I did find it, and I was like, that's cool. And I was like, man, it hit his hand. I've got one in my pocket. So I gave it to him. He was like, thanks, man. I was like, you know, whatever, man. This is, you know. Then they're going into the encore, and there's this, I don't know, young teenage kid. He's up there in the front row with us too, and Tremonti is handing out picks and stuff, and he's looking around. And he looks at me, and I'm like, I pointed at the kid. I was like, if you can give him one, and he gave him one. It was the last one he had in his hand to give out, and he handed it to the kid. The kid freaked out, lost his mind. I don't blame him. I mean, when I was 15, if my guitar hero handed me a pick, I would have lost my mind too. I mean, for real. And so that was really cool. And then, what was it, later on, other picks started flying around, and a Tremonti pick was on the ground, and I picked it up later. That was at the end of the show. They came back with their encore, and they're throwing picks all around. And I wanted to give a pick to my other buddy, and I was like, here, man, you know, you guys were kind enough to think of bringing me along, and here you go. And then we hung out at the side of the stage, trying to get their the roadies to give us more picks, or maybe like their set list that was taped to the stage and those sorts of things. And they handed out some more picks, and I didn't get one, so I was going away empty-handed. And so, being old men that we are, we hit the men's room before we left, because, you know, you got to take care of things. And pardon me, we're down there, and one of Mammoth's roadies was down there, and he saw me and my buddy, and he goes up to my buddy, and he goes, and we saw him give somebody else a pick, and he goes up to my friend, and he goes, hey man, you want a pick? And he was like, yeah, that's cool. And he grabs the pick, and he's like, this is so cool. And I'm like, that's really cool, Kelly. You got a Mark Tremonti pick and a Wolf pick. That's really cool. And he goes, I'm really happier about the Wolf pick. I go, and he was like, I'm not really into the Tremonti pick. I was like, if you really don't want the Tremonti pick, I'd be glad to take it back. Not to be, you know, like that or anything, but, and he was like, you want it? I'm happy with this. I was like, well, I'm not saying, and he goes, here, man, take it. So I got a Mark Tremonti pick. So that's really cool. Ooh, wait, I should show it. Hold on. Wait. All right. Here, oh, shoot. Oh, I'm an idiot. Here is the Mark Tremonti pick here. Let's get this in there. There you go. That's the Mark Tremonti pick. So that's really pretty cool. Is that angled, that close to a point, not really sharp point, but it's enough. It's really cool. So now we're going to go into my pick collection. This is from the 5150 tour. Got this in May of 1986. Eddie Van Halen, the man. It's his. It's really cool. Got a handful of other Van Halen EVH picks here. This one's hard to see that it says EVH on it, but it has EVH on it. And here's another 316. I think this is a Wolf. And I think this one is too. When he was touring with Van Halen as the bass player. More Wolf picks. And this one doesn't say, but I think Eddie was playing these on that tour back in the day. And then while we're at it, you know, I've got these other picks that I've collected along the way. If you're ever in Nashville and you're a guitar guy, girl, guitar person, guitar freak, you got to go to Gruen Guitars, Gruen Vintage Guitars, legendary, and Carter Vintage. Got to go there. Great stuff. Yes, I did go to Sun Studio last summer. Got these two guys. But I was in a band back in 2000, 2001 with a bass player, Leo Thompson, and he went down there and to Sun Studio, and he gave me this pick, Sun Studio. So now I've got from, 20 some years apart. I'm not going to do the math. It's Saturday, for crying out loud. And then Graceland. We had to go to Graceland. If you go into Graceland, be prepared to spend the whole day. I mean, there's so much to see. There's one thing about seeing the little video, doing the tour of the house and the property, but then the museum. I mean, it is a day. We thought we'd take care of it in like a handful of hours. Oh no, it is a day. So yeah, Graceland, taking care of business. So anyway, that's my story. I'm telling you, back to Alter Bridge and my coffee. Got to get my coffee. Back to Alter Bridge. I'm telling you, give it a listen. I'd start with Blackbird. Don't close your eyes. Was it Cry of Achilles? I mean, there are a bunch of them, and of course, I should have had like a list of songs that just rattle off here, and now my brain's just like can't even think. But if you go to Spotify and you just type it in, you're gonna hear the good stuff. You're gonna hear the stuff you need to hear to get you hooked. And then next thing you know, you'll be buying their albums like me. So anyway, highly recommend them. And this has been Story Time with Loren. And I'm not even done my coffee. It's not even done. So that's kind of that. Have a great day, great evening, good rest of your day.